The Express, The Ernie Davis Story, is a movie based on the life of Ernie Davis, a Syracuse University football player, who became the first African American player to win a prestigious award. The movie begins with a football tournament between Syracuse University and the University of Texas. However, there is racial war and conflict in sports at that time, and black players aren't given the same privilege as their white counterparts. While the teams prepare to play, a black player, Ernie Davis, is intimidated by his rivals on the field. This makes the game messy for Ernie as they continue to intimidate and bully him during the game. The movie then flashes back to the late 1940s in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Ernie, a 10-year-old boy, is walking home happily with his friend, Will. The two talk while they walk, but they are soon interrupted by a group of white bullies. Will manages to escape from the bullies into a train, but Ernie could not, and he is chased by the bullies. However, Ernie is faster than them and they soon get tired and give up chasing him. Ernie joins Will, who is happy to see that he escaped the bullies and has been waiting for him, and the two return home happily. Ernie leaves with his uncle and grandparents, and his grandfather, Willie Pops Davis, always encourages him to read. Even though Ernie stammers, he follows his grandfather's advice and begins to learn how to read. Several years later, Ernie watches a football match and sees Jackie Robinson, a black man, playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers. This inspires Ernie and he aspires to become a football player just like Jackie. Jackie becomes Ernie's role model and he has posters of him in his house. Soon, Marie, Ernie's mother, visits them and informs him that she has remarried a caring man and he wants Ernie to move in with them in Elmira. Ernie is not happy about leaving his grandparents' house and he is reluctant to agree to leave with his mother. However, he soon agrees and leaves with Marie the next day. Not long after moving into his new house in Elmira, New York, Ernie signs up for a junior football team tryout, small fry football tryouts. However, Ernie is denied a jersey due to his color, as the jersey is given to the white players. A determined Ernie proceeds to play without the jersey and races past every other player. His mother cheers him up while he plays and everyone is impressed by his moves. In Syracuse, New York, in 1957, Jimmy Brown, a black player, is interviewed by the press and he comments on winning big trophies. This makes the press offended as he is a black man. Soon, the head coach of Syracuse University and Jim's coach, Ben, requests that he help recruit Ernie into their team before other teams recruit him, as Jim is in search of a running back to address the absence of Jim, who is graduating and now completing his All-American senior season. It turns out that Ben and his coaching staff are impressed by Ernie's skills after watching one of his games. However, Jim is aware that Ben doesn't want to approach Ernie by himself because he is black and refuses to help Ben, but Ben manages to convince him that he will be helping another black man to get the chance to play football. This makes Jim change his mind and offers to recruit Ernie. Jim is also impressed at Ernie's skills after watching him play. After the match, Jim approaches him and convinces him to join the Syracuse team, assuring him that Ben is a great coach. Several months later, Ernie joins Syracuse University's football team. As soon as the training begins, Ernie becomes familiar with his new football teammates. He also becomes close friends with one of his teammates, JB, who advises him to listen to Ben's advice. Soon after, Ben gives Ernie his jersey and it turns out to be Jim's jersey, but Ernie refuses to take it as he believes that he is not as good as Jim. However, Ben believes that he will live up to Jim's abilities and insists that he keep the jersey. Over time, Ernie begins to outshine the best players of his team and this leads to jealousy among some of the players. This also causes the white players to intimidate him on the field. One day, during a training session, Lundy, a white player, tackles Ernie, but Ben tells him that he will have to learn how to shake off harsh treatment as he will experience such treatment due to his color. However, Ernie and Lundy get into a fight, but Ben and other team members manage to separate them. Meanwhile, Ben is impressed by Ernie's performance and encourages him to do better, but Ben does not scold Lundy for his racist behavior. During a party for the students, Ernie spots a lady, Sarah, and finds her attractive. He and JB decide to date Sarah and her friend, Gloria, respectively. After approaching them, Ernie and Sarah move to the dance floor and have a great time. However, Ernie's fun is cut short and he returns to the field, where he continues to impress Ben and his coaching staff with his skills and performance. This prompts Ben to register him with the university's football team instead of the junior team. However, most of his coaching staff isn't in support of Ben's decision, but Ben is confident that Ernie will impress everyone. Ben continues to coach and push his team to win the national championship, as Syracuse University has never won the tournament. It's the day of the tournament against Kansas and the Syracuse team members struggle to make any headway. Meanwhile, Ernie is frustrated as his rivals and teammates pick on him on the field, but the Syracuse team does not give up and continues to try their best. Eventually, after a long struggle, Ernie helps the team to win the competition. Everyone is happy and they praise him, believing him to be the new Orangemen's MVP. Later that evening, Ernie visits his grandparents and there is a short argument between them about his future. However, Ernie assures them that he has plans and soon leaves to join his childhood friend, Will, at a rally. Will requests that he join the civil rights movement, but Ernie refuses as it will jeopardize his scholarship and future. However, this makes Will believe that he has been brainwashed by Ben and says that all his white friends will soon betray him. Ernie then returns to Syracuse University to continue his training. Ben has also developed new tactics for the team to help them win their next game. Using Ben's new tactics, Ernie continues to lead his team to victory against other universities. This soon attracts the attention of the media, and every newspaper in the country is talking about the fast-rising varsity football player, Ernie. Amidst his fame and celebration, Ernie receives tragic news that his grandfather has passed away. He then leaves to attend his funeral. Meanwhile, Will is still adamant about Ernie joining the civil rights movement and tries to talk to him again, but Ernie does not change his mind and refuses. Back at Syracuse, Ernie has a breakdown and bursts into tears in the locker room, but soon gets into a fight with Lundy after stopping him from bullying another student. However, they are separated and geared up for their next game. Before the game, Ben advises them to keep their helmets on at all times as their rivals are violent and their fans are also savage. As the team steps out into the field, their rivals make fun of them and the match begins. During the match, the Orange men struggle to defeat their opponent. Meanwhile, aware of Ernie's skills, he is ambushed by the rival team and is attacked before he could score a point. However, his helmet protects him, but he is attacked again while he tries to score a point for the team again. This forces Ben to tell him that he will be substituted as the rivals won't give him a chance to score because he is black and his teammates might not return home in one piece if he scores. Ernie is frustrated but agrees to the substitution for his teammates' sake. The Orangemen eventually take the lead, but Ernie is attacked by racist insults. This forces Ben to order for a timeout, but Ernie insists on continuing the game as he remembers Will's words, informing him that Ben is only using him and does not care about him. Ernie's action provokes Ben and this makes Ben scold him. Angry, Ernie confronts him and stylishly calls him a racist. Meanwhile, Ben is advised not to recruit too many black players or he will risk his position as the coach. On their way back home, Ernie apologizes to Ben for losing his temper on the field but says that he is not sorry for insisting to continue the game or scoring a point for his team. Game after game, Ernie continues to score points for the Orangemen and lead them into victory until they become the #1 team with an unbeaten run in the national championship. While the team celebrates their victories, Ben informs them that they get to play against a weak team or tough team for the national championship. However, Ernie supports that they play against the tough team and everyone agrees with him. Meanwhile, their final match will be held in Texas, a state where racism is more dominant than in other parts of the nation. The soon sets out and leaves for Texas. As they arrive there, Ernie is stressed out by the abuse the black people there are subjected to. He is also denied staying at the hotel booked for the team because he is black. He is then forced to lodge at a different location alongside JB and other black men. The next day, during the training session, Ernie is injured and Ben's coaching staff believes that it's a blessing in disguise. The staff has also discovered several racist death threats sent to the team's hotel room, threatening to attack Ernie if he plays, and this forces Ben to keep Ernie from playing the game. However, Ernie insists on playing the match and Ben agrees to let him. It's the day of the game and Ben advises Ernie before the match starts that he should go all the way out once he gets the ball. The match soon begins and Ernie is attacked, suffering an injury to his right leg. Meanwhile, Ben tries to interfere with the game to protect his player, but the biased officials warn him against interfering in the game. There is a brief timeout and the game soon resumes. While Ernie tries to score a point, he is tackled again and pinned to the ground by the Texan players. Things escalate and JB almost gets into a fight with another player, but the Orangemen manage to take the lead. Meanwhile, Ernie is constantly tackled by the rival players and Ben yells as he thinks the rival players are spiraling out of control and he is worried for Ernie. The game resumes and Ernie gets the ball again. However, he is attacked illegally by the rival players, forcing Ben to yell at the referee to do something, but it's too late. The match soon turns into an all-out commotion as the Orangemen and the Texans engage in a brutal fight. The halftime of the match is over and Ben asks Ernie to stay out for the rest of the game to have his wounded leg attended to. He also gives them a motivational speech and the second half of the match begins. However, everyone is surprised to find out that Ernie is not in the game. The Orangemen continue to lead their opponents, but without Ernie, the Texans soon begin to catch up with them. The Orangemen are now leading their opponent with just 1 point and Ernie worries for the success of his team. He then convinces Ben to let him back into the game. Ben agrees to him and lets him back into the game. However, the attacks against Ernie do not stop, but he insists on staying in the game. Ernie continues to struggle and manages to push through the tackles and score a point, winning the game for his team. The team is crowned the winner and everyone cheers for Ernie. Every newspaper has Ernie printed on their first page as they celebrate his success. Ernie and his teammates go out to celebrate their success, but Ernie is refused entrance to the club because of his color, and he is still segregated due to his color. This causes the rest of the Syracuse team to leave with him as a sign of solidarity. 2 years later, Ernie receives one of the most prestigious awards for athletes as he becomes the first African American to win the Heisman Trophy, following his senior season in school. During his speech, Ernie appreciates his family, friends, and Ben for supporting him. He is also congratulated by President Kennedy. Ernie and Sarah are now in a romantic relationship. One day, while making out, Ernie bleeds from his nose, which makes Sarah worry. Soon after, Ernie becomes a professional football athlete in the National Football League. He later signs a contract with the Cleveland Browns. However, during a training session for the upcoming season, Ernie collapses on the field and is rushed to the hospital. However, he is shocked to receive the news that his health will prevent him from playing further from the team owner, Art Modell, and this breaks Ernie's heart as he is diagnosed with leukemia. During a press meeting, he tells the press that he will return to play the game once he is fully recovered. Soon after, unable to play, Ben asks Ernie to accompany him to recruit a highly prized prospect. Ben and Ernie set out to recruit the player, Floyd Little. Just like Ernie was as much in awe of Jim, Floyd chose to be in awe of Ernie. Ernie encourages him to follow his dream and gives him some advice. Later on, Ernie is forced to retire from football, and the Cleveland Browns honor him by allowing him to wear his uniform and join the team while running out before a game. The movie ends with a note, stating that Ernie died at the age of 23, on May 18, 1963, due to leukemia. President Kennedy sends his condolences and expresses sympathy for Ernie's good character as an athlete and citizen.